Principles of Project Learning, Episode 3. Provide learners with scaffolding for the project process. This video is part of a series on the principles of project learning. This episode is about the value of providing scaffolding for the project process. The first two episodes of this series explored the importance of giving learners freedom to choose when they are engaged in project work. This does not mean, however, that we should expect them to work completely independently. Evidence from educational researchers suggests that an approach in which learners are guided through a learning process is more effective than unguided learning. Teachers should provide learners with advice, guidance, suggestions, and support. Careful, supportive assistance will help them to progress well. At the same time, ownership of the project should remain with the learner. The key is for the teacher to act as a mentor or guide rather than an instructor or director of the project. One very effective form of supportive guidance is to provide learners with a scaffold for the project process. A scaffold is a framework organised around the central stages in the project process. In this video, we will explore a general scaffold that can be used with many different types of project. Scaffolding the stages of the project process. Projects can be broken down into 4 stages: plan, research, develop, and review. Plan. Projects begin with the choice of an aim. This should be in the form of a question or practical challenge. Once the central question or challenge has been decided, learners should plan how they will use their time and consider the resources they will need for their project. Research. Once a question or challenge has been established, the next stage is to investigate, to find source materials that the learner can use in developing their project. Research will usually involve looking at relevant ideas, topics and techniques, as well as exploring examples of similar projects done by others that can be used as sources of inspiration. It is a good idea if learners write up a record of their research, including details of the sources. Develop. A project is a personal response to a question or challenge. Drawing on their research, learners should engage in a process of creative development of their own ideas. A successful project will involve evaluation of a range of different ideas. The process of evaluation of alternative ideas can help the learner to create their own response to their question or challenge. Review. A project is a learning journey, and the final stage is for the learner to reflect on the project process. The review is an opportunity to reflect on the project itself, as well as to think about lessons that have been learned for the future. Reviews should address questions such as: were the original aims met? What lessons have been learned from the project process? What would the learner do differently next time? An example of a 4-day project. Day 1. Plan. Zach decides to design a 1-week-long training program for his family to help them maintain their physical fitness. He looks at online training programs, gathers a list of sources, and writes a list of ideas for his program. Day 2. Research. Zach gathers information from online sources about suitable training activities. He decides to create a series of short recorded messages plus an infographic of the whole program. He looks online for infographic templates. Day 3. Develop. Zach writes scripts for the messages and edits these. He records the messages. He experiments with a range of different templates before he designs his infographic. Day 4. Review. Zach sends his project to his family and asks them for their comments. He includes these comments in his project review. Keeping a record of a project is valuable for both learners and their mentors. Recording the project process helps the learner to reflect on what they are doing, as well as providing a record of achievement. If the learner produces this record as they are working on their project and shares it with their mentor, the mentor can review it and make suggestions as the work unfolds. A template for creating a project record accompanies this video.